Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 12th of April. So let's have a look at the risk elements due today. In fact, let's just come across here. It says it wakes it up. So Wednesday. So we've got the US inflation data this afternoon. Now this will be key. There'll be a lot of focus on this afternoon, so it's at 1:30. Now we could see a quiet morning based on that, so wouldn't be so shocked if that's what happens. We've then got the Bank of Canada, Bank of England speaking in the middle. Let's just check what he's due to speak on resilience of the global financial system. Okay, right, we can ignore that for a moment, but just be aware he's speaking. But at 3 o'clock we got the Bank of Canada monetary policy report, so the interest rate decision is expected they're going to leave things alone this time. If they did increase by 0.25%, that would certainly shock the markets there, but as I say, they started the tightening cycle a lot earlier than many countries along with New Zealand. They've both been going at it longer, but anyway, that's key. Then at 3 o'clock, Bank of Canada press conference at 4. So a couple of things there. That is pretty much it. The FOMC meeting minutes, of course, mustn't forget those at 7 o'clock in the evening. But again, unless you're in positions holding over, I don't expect a lot of surprises from these meeting minutes, but we do see surprises at times. Bank of England Governor speaking. He's got a busy day, isn't he? What's he speaking at there? Due to speak about financial and price stability at the International Monetary Fund. Okay, in Washington. Right, there'll be quite a few speakers on that. So that is it for today then. Inflation, watch out for that. That's the key one coming out, and then the Bank of Canada. So if you're trading the Canadian dollar, it's a bit ironic because some of the markets that look the best featuring the Canadian dollar. So, quick flick through the markets then at the moment. In the Forex markets, the euro dollar, well, it's a bit of a mess however you look at it, and certainly it's drifting to the upside, but well, just pulled back a little bit again, but it's got a bit of a drift. Overall, it's really quite messy when you're looking at it. This 4-hourly, I've still got my 4-hourly trend on here. It broke the little downside movement we saw from mid last week. It's too much of a mess at the moment. It's in its sideward chop that it's so good at doing. The pound. Now, this I was looking for a much more of a push yesterday when it got to this stage here. There's quite a pivotal area here. These are prior highs. It's not just prior highs. It goes right the way across the chart, this level, in terms of recent price action. You can see the amount of tops, bottoms all around it, so it's quite a pivotal area. Now I was looking yesterday for a breakout, a retrace, and then expected it to maybe pushed on. Wasn't looking for anything too quick, looking at it as a little swing, but it just didn't happen, and that's why it's worth being patient to get into some of these trades. It's pushed up since, but again come back, air kissed its daily pivot. Maybe it's got some movement in it later, but it's ugly. US dollar yen, well, this didn't quite do what I expected yesterday. It has broken the highs there, and well, potentially it's put a higher low in, and potentially it's got further upside to be done on this. The yen just continued soften there, but so having said that, in the short term it's just selling off at the moment. Maybe it'll just come back to its daily pivot, but as it did yesterday, it sort of lurked around it for most of the morning and then eventually pushed back above. Maybe we'll see the same again, but I've got nothing on that market I want to trade at the moment whilst it's in that shape. Aussie dollar, similar case here. Actually, the Aussie dollar just softening some more again. Short term through its pivot. It's overall bigger picture. If you look at this, a bit bear flaggish, but got potential for more downside towards its S1. The more it lingers where it is at the moment, it's looking softer. US dollar CAD, we've got to watch out on this one. The Canadian dollars continue to strengthen. If we come out the time frames and look at what happened here, is happening here, you can see it's broken its flag pattern yesterday, dropped through that, came back, retested it, and has been breaking away. And you see that a little bit clearer here with the lower highs. Now it's a risky one today, which is ironic with the Canadian dollar, because the only other things I can see setting up, one thing I would warn against is this euro yen. It's there seems to be a lot of interest in shorting it, and maybe for reasonable reason or good reason, because of it's been back into its previous highs, etc. It looked okay last week to when it was starting to pull off here to short, but it's since then been pushing to the upside. Now I'll show you why you've got to be careful on this. He says, get the right one. And if we look at the sentiment this morning, or the sentiment this morning, it's been the sentiment euro yen, there's nearly 78% of retail traders short on this. This is a contrarian signal. In other words, if they're short, we should be going long. So just bear that in mind, that there'll be a lot of traders and larger traders pushing against this, even if it's for a short-term gain for them. The stops will be placed not far over the highs, or some of them, some will be underwater without stops, but there'll be some stops up there. They can push it up into the stops and then sell it. So we might get a pop and drop there just to flush out some of those positions. But it's a rougher one, but I would stay clear of that if you're trying to short it. Euro Aussie, that wasn't really as too messy. It's Euro CAD I'd identified here. I was looking for it yesterday, looking for the breakdown of this move here. As I said, it's the problem with it now is, what time was it? It was 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It just pushed up. It just went the other way, the euro against the CAD, and then sold off in the afternoon. I was waiting for a clean movement to come back down here. It just never happened. But that doesn't look so good now. And it was the pound CAD that I was looking at this morning, particularly off the higher time frames. Just looking at this, thinking, well, this could fall. But again, with the news out later, they're probably trades not worth looking at too much. They could actually, they're starting to make a move. They could be bouncing from these recent lows. Right, well, there isn't a lot out there. Whatever I'm looking at is either already gone up a country mile, or is looking quite ugly, or is involving the Canadian dollar. And we've got the Bank of Canada meeting later. So it's a case of patience this morning and looking to see what can set up. Morning, Michael. Okay, that's Forex. Let's look at gold, oil. It's gold first, some commodities here. So spot gold pushing up again this morning. It's just slowly working its way back up there. As I said, it's slow, not to be shocked by that. Yesterday morning it sort of got a bit of a wiggle and pulled back, but it's sort of bullish flag pattern. That's pretty much gone now. Today it's already into its R2, so it doesn't have a lot of distance for me there. Oil, just look at where this is. So it's looking like it wants to break. It's got the bullish engulfing bar there, a bit of a continuation pattern potentially. Okay, we're close to prior highs here, and this was quite a key area previously. So sitting around 82 could be the pivotal point on that. So nothing really going there either. Equity markets. So the CSI 300 off a little bit again today. It's still in a sort of a bullish step there. It's just consolidating and just falling back a little bit. The the Nikkei has pushed up this morning, so a little bit of joy there, as has the Nifty 50 so far. Continue to push. As I said the other day, it's now broken this trend line. It's got some scope. That was yesterday actually. Someone asked me about the Aussie and pivots, and do they work? The Aussie 200, yes. I say the Aussie, the Australian 200 index, do they work? Of course they do. Wherever there's a market, there's a pivot. and yes, they work. Just briefly looking at this then, so it is above. This is the quarterly pivot. It's found a bit of support around and is currently pushed off that, but running into double tops at the moment, but much more bullish looking market. I would like to see a bit of a retrace on that. Right, there's the special then. US 500, the S&Ps, that is, still consolidating around this area. There's movement there, but yes, sorry, come back to that. Look at yesterday's little tiny bar there, very small movement, and we're seeing very little movement at the moment on these markets. The Dow moves slightly better. There'll be divergence over the highs there, a slight bit of divergence on some indicators there. The Nasdaq, this has gone completely the other way. Yesterday sold off, but still, actually, it's consolidating lower than where the high is there, and not really even a flaggy pattern. It's looking quite ugly at the moment. This could come off. It looks like it's weak. DAX still floating around its highs, struggling. Yesterday it just pushed back towards the highs, fell away again. It's struggling. It's not even managed to catch any of its pivots yesterday. It's a rare day. Today it's already air kissed the daily pivot point, but looking consolidation here. It's maybe waiting. Traders are maybe waiting overall to see what happens in the US. FTSE, bigger picture here, did manage to climb a little bit, and it's pushing up. The future's pushing up at this stage. Consolidation where it is here. Again, it's not an uncommon picture to see. It managed to close close the gap really there. Yesterday, pushing back up though at the moment, he says. Anyway, there we go. Not a lot else there today. So not a lot in the way of Forex pairs to be traded yet. Now this so often changes within an hour or so, so I'll be keeping an eye on those. Anyway, I wish you a great day's trading. If you can find something to trade that looks good, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye for now.